ASTROBOT delivers an incredibly accessible experience while also giving experienced gamers a thrilling adventure. Personally, I loved Astro's Playroom, so I was incredibly excited when I found out that ASTROBOT was coming this year, and even more excited when PlayStation reached out about sponsoring a video. So thank you so much, PlayStation, for sponsoring the video. Even though this video is sponsored, we weren't given a script or anything, so all of the thoughts and opinions are our own. Let's get into it. The game begins with Astro and his friends being attacked by a wild green alien who rips your PlayStation 5 spaceship to pieces, scattering bits of it and all of the passengers throughout the various different worlds in the galaxy. With that, it's now your job as Astro to rescue all of those bots and save your PS5. I love how easy the game is to pick up. In classic 3D platformer style, you have your standard jump and glide and a quick attacking action to beat up those enemies. But one of our absolute favorite things is that there are constantly new mechanics given to you. Each world will have a different item or upgrade that the puzzles in it are built around. And while these do sometimes repeat every now and then, they were swapped out often enough to keep everything feeling fresh and fun, while also remaining simple enough for new gamers to grasp. Personally, I found the boxing gloves that allowed me to punch enemies from afar the most satisfying of the perks, while Carly really enjoyed the one that allowed you to transform into a little itty bitty mouse and go exploring all of the hidden little places in the map. But there are tons of others, from one that allows you to compress into a heavy little ball that can be launched and break through otherwise indestructible items, a chicken jetpack that lets you blast off to extreme heights, or the VR goggles that slow down time. At its heart, this is a 3D platformer, but it is so much more than that. The music and sound effects are satisfying, the environment is lush and filled with vibrant color and fantastically animated graphics. It doesn't matter which of the more than 50 worlds you're exploring, you are guaranteed a visual feast. From the shrubbery and the water to the enemies, bosses, and the cute little bots. Oh yes, the bots are fantastic. Scattered through each world are bots in need of rescue. Some are stuck in trees or cornered by enemies, and others are hiding, just having a good old vacation while they wait for you to bring them home. Well, many of these little guys are your average bot. There are 150 PlayStation heroes scattered throughout the galaxy to find, and they are quite the sight to see. We got excited every time we found one of these little special bots. Some of our favorites were Ratchet and Sackboy, Kratos, and Aloy. Some of these special bots even have their own worlds where you get to play as them and use their unique power to get you through. Those were definitely our favorite levels. However, one of the most impressive things about the PS5 is the controller, and ASTROBOT uses it phenomenally. From the haptic triggers to vibration where you can feel every step and every roll of the armadillo as it rolls across the spikes. Even the speakers on the controller add so much to the game by bringing different sounds closer to you and meshing them with that physical feedback that makes things feel so much more immersive. This is one of those features that I've always loved and wished would be implemented into more games, and ASTROBOT does it right. In fact, the controller is such an integral part of the game that we even got sent the ASTROBOT Special Edition controller, as you can see here. While it's not necessary to play the game, there's definitely something really special about using the controller yourself and seeing the very same controller in the game being used to fly ASTROBOT from one planet to the next and controlling it as you go. With the might of the DualSense controller in your hand, you get to go save more bots and bring down big bad bosses. I love the bosses in this game. Some of them got decently challenging, never so much that it made us want to stop playing, but enough that it really felt good when you did defeat them. They are all very unique, and you'll need to use whatever ability that world has given you to defeat them. The story is short and sweet. This is something that Carly loves in her games. You just get to jump right into enjoying the gameplay after the quick cutscene at the beginning, and you get to move through the world and learn little bits here and there, but mostly you're just having a good time with fantastic gameplay mechanics. You don't need to worry about missing any of the story. You just save your bots and fix up your PlayStation while also building up a wonderful little society on your hub world where your bots will help pick up rocks off of pinned down bots or build bridges for you to walk across. Whatever it is, the more bots, the merrier. Not to mention, you also get to unlock customization for your character and your flying controller as you gather puzzle pieces from across the galaxy. Okay, so since our channel normally covers local multiplayer couch co-op games, It's important for me to address the family aspect of this. ASTROBOT doesn't actually have any sort of multiplayer feature, and I wish it did, but I also think that might detract from some of what makes this such a great game. But even though there's not any actual multiplayer, it's still a great experience for families. So let me tell you my experience. My 3-year-old son absolutely loved watching us play this one. He had a fantastic time watching me before I left for PAX West, and while I was gone, he watched my wife Carly play the game for hours and hours, and when I got back, he would tell me the little things that I should do. On top of that, it's also just really fun to pass one another the controller whenever you restart at a checkpoint, or if you're trying to do the challenge levels. We found that it personally was fun for us to pass the controller back and forth to avoid a little bit of the frustration that can come from constantly dying on those ones, and that's what we used to do with Crash Bandicoot. It's really fun to get to see somebody else try the challenge that you just failed at, and maybe you can work together to figure out how to do it better. As perfect as this game is, every game has its problems. The biggest thing for us was that there was a couple of times where we didn't really understand what the controls were telling us we needed to do or pay attention to. Other than that, it was sometimes a little frustrating that you could only take one hit before having to go back to a checkpoint, and Carly felt a little bad when she defeated the bird boss about how exactly you go about doing that. But those are some very minor issues for what is an absolutely fantastic game. There is a ton of time to be spent going back to find different bots you've missed, unlocking everything from the vending machine where you get to very satisfactorily crush the glass globes in your hands. Like, seriously, it was very satisfactory to just crank in a new ball, grab it and crush it, and just repeatedly do that. It felt really good. That's back to the controller. It feels really good to do that kind of thing. Not to mention all of the things that you get from that little vending machine will appear around your hub world. There's also some hidden levels to find and even alternate routes to complete in different levels that made us feel very accomplished whenever we found them. This was one of the easiest sponsorships to say yes to. I knew the game would be great, and it didn't let me down. To establish just how good this game is, Carly actually finished the whole thing in 2 days, and she barely even finishes games most of the time. ASTROBOT is an absolute recommendation from us. Whether we got paid for it or not, we would be recommending this to our friends and family. We enjoyed every bit we played and cannot wait for the next entry in this wonderful series. Again, thank you to PlayStation for sponsoring this video. Make sure to go click the link in the description to pick up the game for yourself, maybe even the controller. And if you want some more fun with your PlayStation, click on this video to find 51 fantastic PlayStation couch co-op games you can enjoy with your family and friends. I love you guys, and I cannot wait to see you over there. Y'all are awesome.